Can you say hard hats, folks? Hard hats, lunch pail, steel toe boots.
Anything short of a championship this year is a failure. Look at this boomer right here.
You've just got so much talent here.
Somebody said we need to apologize for Jalen.
Can I close it, John? What are we apologizing for? What did we say? What did we do?
We don't have it.
It's a hard hat game.
It's a hard hat game.
I changed the rules. If people didn't realize that, I did change the
It's
hard hat
supposed to be
rules.
postseason only.
I changed the rules at the preview show because I created the rules, so I can change the rules on the hard hat situation. You can wear the hard hat during a game. You can wear the hard hat after a win, only if it was like a hard hat type of win. You cannot wear the hard hat after a loss.
But hard hat wins are subject to Jimmy Toscano's approval.
Most of Jimmy's sports takes, this is flexible, you know?
It ebbs and flows with the way things are going.
Flippity flop, flippity flop, floppity flip.
But those are the rules. And by the way, hard hats are still available in the merch store.
Yeah, and how about that promo code that's supposed to be fixed by Saturday? Did we get there?
Promo code summer24, I think it's still.
Yeah, still? Okay, we'll get there next Saturday.
Yeah.
We'll wait till you know what,
next
Jimmy?
summer.
Jimmy, let's wait till the regular season starts and then we'll do it.
I like that idea.
Okay, good. Anyway, good win against a good team, albeit one on a back-to-back. Crimea River, Milwaukee. But again, you get a good win against a good team without Jason Tatum having a good game. And again, that's kind of the magic of the Celtics. Like
that's kind of what made it a hard hattie.
And
got it from other guys.
And fun stuff to talk about because contributions came from outside the mainstream. Jaylen Brown had a terrific second half. I'm glad Drew Holiday had a nice kind of Bucks revenge game because he played like ass against them last year. Every time he had a shot at hey, you shouldn't have traded me. It doesn't matter. He got the last life of the championship, but Jordan Walsh, some valuable minutes.
Yes.
And a contribution and what we like to see along the line of some of the things we talked about regarding why not just when you have a guy go down, just let the next man come up.
That's
and
kind of the
give
whole
Jordan
point of
Walsh
having
and Hauser's minutes. And that's
Yeah.
what Joe did tonight. And again, different lineup. Maybe they wanted to play things a little different, wanted to get away from the double big. It is what it is. And then obviously Peyton Pritchard stole the show. With his you got YMCA Peyton Pritchard out there tonight, and he was terrific. So, guys, what jumps out to you from this game most?
I mean, Pritchard. I mean, without question, just the shot making, but more than just the shot making, the impact. He wasn't just making shots; he was making big shots when they absolutely needed someone to deliver a bucket for them. His play jumped out at me. Jordan Walsh, low key, was really good. It's not going to go down as one of his all-time great games, but he did so many.
It might be right now.
It might be right now.
For this year, yeah. For this year, yeah. For
forever.
His career.
Maybe not for the
I
rest
hope
of
that
his
this
life.
is not the highlight of Jordan Walsh's career.
But
I hope
to
this
this point,
is
it
not
was. Yeah.
To this point, it is. But he was good. He just basically he did enough to justify him being out there, and didn't screw up enough to where you had to yank his ass out of there. And that's what you want He was good. And, as you pointed out, John, Jalen in the second half, that was like playoff Jalen that we saw in the second half.
Pretty much.
Really taking his time, being patient, not buying it, not just selling out to that ISO ball bullshit that he sometimes does from time to time. It was really good to see what he was able to do in the second half, and they needed it because Tatum just didn't have it. I mean, I think it was 1 for 8 on threes, and they were pretty good looks. They just didn't go down. So good win. This was a good win.
Yeah, Sherrod nailed it with those three guys. Those are the ones that stand out to me, obviously. Peyton Pritchard's just becoming, I mean, we kind of laughed at all the 6th man of the year bold takes.
Oh, how we laughed.
I wrote it in my diary. Like, Sherrod made a very funny joke tonight. We all thought, I mean, listen, it's still a long season, but you gotta absolutely love what Pritchard's getting you off the bench right now. You got to respect him.
I even drafted my fantasy squad. How's
Did
that?
you?
That's love. Yeah, I drafted him.
But you're like,
didn't play him tonight though. Damn it.
Damn. Oh, see, that's the problem. I can't do fantasy basketball, man. It's too much.
I can't either.
But Pritchard, you got to really. Teams are honoring him, man. They gotta stick to him. Like, look, but he's still finding open threes. That corner, he still slips away, right?
You know, my favorite shot of his all night though was when he went off the dribble under the basket, laid that shit up. That I was just like,
because last game he got blocked on one of those, and it's like you got to be really what?
Really what?
I'm getting told that Joe instantly started talking about a Bobby question from pregame in his
Good question. I wonder.
post game. But so Joe's bringing his agendas to the post game press conference. We'll get some more clarification on that later.
Live right now.
Huh?
We can go Mazzulla live.
yeah.
Oh, looking at Joe. All right, let's get it in there. I won't get the
just watching him picking spots well. I thought he did a great job of that in the second half.
No, I don't like
and
that.
forth game most of the night. Then you get to the end of the third quarter. You see Derek sort of have that big stretch,
Mazzulla's
and
on
then
the
Jordan
show,
Walsh
Josh.
have those two big hustle plays. How big was that energy boost for you, especially when
There
you
he
hear
is.
the crowd go nuts like that?
Over here,
Yeah,
Joe.
I mean, and I told that to Jordan in the locker room. I think just finding out a role and making big time plays like that is huge. So he had some defensive. I thought he had a great defensive play on Giannis in the post, taking away his tendency. And got fouled going up for an offensive rebound. So I mean, that's like you have to win games like that, especially against good teams. It's never just gonna. Sometimes it's got to be gritty. It's got to be ugly. So I thought they did a good job of doing that.
Joe, the 80-79 when Lillard hits the technical on the delay of game.
Yeah.
It seemed like there was a lot of frustration building up to that moment. There was a lot of like chirping at the refs and all of that. Was that like a moment of it coming to a head and guys just saying, we're not going to win this thing. We've got to focus on ourselves. What happened in that moment that kind of seemed to like guys rallied around that moment to take that?
No frustration. We were just like, let's just try to create as much chaos as we can. That was it.
What made you decide like?
I just felt like that's what we felt like the environment needed at the time. It was just create chaos. So we're just going to create it. And then we just created chaos together.
Hang on this. We're gonna hang on this.
Responded pretty well.
Somebody follow. Somebody follow. Somebody follow.
Nobody had any idea what was going on, right? Just chaos. Yeah, it's perfect. It's exactly what we needed.
We needed chaos.
That, buzzer beating three. As soon as the ball get inbounded to him,
stay on the chaos, guys.
Hands on his knees, despondent. How do you like when
I guarantee that's going to be the most interesting thing.
I didn't see that, but I just think it's a credit to Peyton. I mean, a lot of guys won't take that shot, but he just takes pride in it. I mean, the guy's just good. I mean, I thought he kept us in it in the first half, and he's just finding different ways to impact the game. Tonight it was his shooting
and he did it without
and his
chaos.
defense. Sometimes it's his passing, but the kid's just a competitor. So I love watching him play.
Did you see the clip of him playing some kid one-on-one at the park the other day?
No.
Oh gosh.
No.
Do you encourage your players just to play people one-on-one?
Yeah.
I would have left that one.
Tatum, I need you to go down.
All right, fine. I'll put it back.
East Boston.
That was a quick
Get a
answer.
pickup
Hold
game
on.
going.
I'll put it back.
Just back onto Peyton for a second. You
You
mentioned kind of
encourage
the
people to play
versatility and
children?
diversity
I
of
wonder
things
what he
in the game. Is there
said.
a particular thing that stands out to you about him that you particularly enjoy?
His competitive nature, I think, is number one. I think just his ability
creator.
to just go in and out of different roles.
It needs to be in a
You know what I mean?
tournament
Like,
this
he
year,
doesn't
John.
care with the circumstance, the sub pattern. He doesn't give really two shits about anything other than just competing at the highest
Here
level.
we go.
That to me is just he's a purist competitor, and so I really appreciate that about him.
Joe, how did you feel like you competed against a contender, a team that they're coming off a back-to-back, but they've got two obviously top 75 players? I mean, how do you think you kind of handled the situation?
I know it's an interesting question. Why? How did you think we handled the situation?
Oh, fine. I mean, they pushed you. I mean, but
G-Dub.
is that what you were looking for? Obviously, everything's
It
not going to be
started,
easy.
John.
But this
Here we go.
Yeah.
was going to be a struggle. It seemed like
No,
from the
definitely
beginning.
going to be a
Joe.
struggle. I kind of like the fact that it was a back and forth game the entire time because you just have to
What do you
again
think,
go through just got to go through it, whatever it is that you have. Whether you got to protect a lead, you got to come back from a lead, you got to just go back and forth. So I really liked, even when the environment got a little crazy, we never wavered from our half court defensive execution, and I think that's kind of the telltale sign of your team is like regardless of what's going on around you, can you execute and. And again, I think I said this in the pregame, like these two guys on the other side, they're going to hit tough shots and just do freakish things. Like you just can't overreact to that, to which they did some of that. And I thought we just kind of stayed right here from a tactical and a technical standpoint. And there was some friction there that we had to work through. So I thought that was great. And yeah.
and Jason didn't get to the line till I think the last 4 minutes or whatever. He seemingly was frustrated with the lack of calls. How do you kind of, you got another tech. How do you kind of
What do you think, Gary? How
he
do you
maintains
should
his
handle that?
poise when there's nights when he feels like he's been fouled?
I mean, I think he did maintain his poise from his. I mean, he maintained his poise from the standpoint of he played defense, he rebounded, he guarded Brook Lopez, he ran the plays, he executed them. I mean, I like yelling at those guys too. So I mean, I'm certainly not going to stop him from doing it. But once if he stops executing our system and our that's when it becomes more of an issue. But I think he kind of stayed, there most of the time.
Yeah.
Love it.
I don't want to turn away.
This is the best. This is the best presser of the year, easily.
Third, and as luck would have it, there were many opportunities after that.
Yeah.
What was the strategy there?
When they're, I agree with you. It's a tough one, and I'm usually hesitant on the second one. But against a team like that and the way the game was going, when it's obvious 2 point, when you're saving obvious 2 points, you have to take advantage of that, and you can't really have, hindsight is like, well, we would have we saved 4 points. We saved 2 points on the goaltend, and we would have saved their expected offense is really good. And so we probably saved around 3.8 points on that. And so you have to do
3.8.
Doesn't matter what time of the game or the value.
There we go. We'll switch back to it. But interesting, Joe Mazzulla. I friggin' love that.
Chaos.
I consider myself to be a merchant of chaos, and generally speaking, it's kind of my role. But Mazzulla, I love that. I've never heard a coach say that, where I didn't really want to do anything. I mean, it's similar to shit's not going well, and a manager just goes out there and he yells at the umpire, and he's like, "I'm going to kick dirt on you, and I want you to throw me out of the game." It's kind of we need this at this moment, and that's exactly what happened. And people wondering if we missed anything, we did not. That was the last question for Joe, and he's off the podium. I am curious how he started here, but you wrote the article. But interesting that he said, I thought that moment needed chaos, and that's going to be a Joeism that we're gonna I think harken back to time and again throughout the course of this year.
That might find its way into the tournament this year.
Yeah, chaos. And I love whoever put microaggression Mazzulla as a comment there.
Microaggression Mazzulla.
What did you think about it, Gary? Oh God, good stuff. But look. Good composure game. It could have gone a couple different ways. They were fighting it, right? Outside of Peyton Pritchard, things weren't going well. You had bad Jalen and bad Tatum in the first half, so that wasn't great at all. And Pritchard kind of kept them alive in there. Ball wasn't, nothing was consistent. There would be moments where they would move it and get the good shots. Ultimately, it came down to them just not knocking down as many. Defensively, they were a little bit discombobulated, I felt, in the first half, and that completely changed in the second half, and they played it a lot better. That fourth quarter stint there, I was pretty worried when it was Luke and Walsh on the floor with Tatum on the bench, and Celtics holding a double-digit lead. That could have gotten ugly, and it didn't at all. Walsh did a terrific job on Giannis late. Even Luke held his ground. I thought that's where the Bucks could have made a little run, and they didn't at all. So, really good bounce-back moment. The energy there, I think, we didn't talk about it yet, but that string of plays with the white three, white block on Giannis was just unbelievable.
That was a game changer.
The vibes in the building, and I can't wait to talk to Noah and Bobby about that. You could really feel it, but there's a lot of good things that happened throughout this game. And again, it's hard to not look at it and be like, yeah, this is a good win. It was an entertaining overall game. I'm still wrapping my mind around there just wasn't a lot of flow in that first half because things were so disjointed in terms of the Celtics performance there. But let's stick on Tatum just for a minute. He was off to, he wins NBA Player of the Week. He was off to one of those starts this year. And before we get deep into it, let me tell you all about what's going on here with this situation. The Celtics, the giveaway. This is the last night and the last code of our giveaway, and I'm going to tell you what it is later. We'll give you the code. It's a special code. It's going to get you some extra points, but you can win a PS5, NBA 2K, and a signed Jason Tatum basketball. The drawing ends tomorrow night at 8 p.m. So you have up until then to use this special code we're going to give you. Go to clnsmedia.com/contest to enter. You can go there right now, but you want to go back there and you want to enter that special code, which you can get by listening to the Garden Report. All of you here who are listening live, you should go in and enter that code right away and redeem those points and see if you can get in on that prize. Again, the more points that you amass, the greater chance you have to win this getaway. Just kidding.
What's the
Jimmy.
code?
I'm not telling you now. Didn't you hear me?
I know, but I want it.
Later. But let's get on the Tatum stuff. It was bound to happen, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the turd in the punch bowl a little bit. The Tatum wins the Tatum. Tatum was already like, we're talking about. There's legit questions about MVP conversation 2 games, 3 games into the season, which is dumb, but it's fine. He wins NBA Player of the Week, so yes, after a week, he's front runner for the MVP award. But he was doing it so effortlessly with his shooting and his scoring, and everything was great. And this was that one clunker game where you're like, oh, I remember these, and like, again, every player has them, every superstar. Nobody's immune. You're not going to shoot at the clip that he was shooting at to start the season because that was ungodly. But the other stuff crept in a little bit. And this was a tough game for Tatum. I'm going to give him I'm going to excuse a little bit of it because he had to bang. It was a tough assignment. He was down low on Lopez. That's not easy. Lopez gives them fits, his size down there, and he had to sit there and he had to body him. And so that wasn't a lot of fun in terms of his defensive assignment and how he had to play this game. And the shot just wasn't falling. And, Brothers was up his ass and not giving him the benefit of the doubt on anything. And Giannis and Lillard are getting superstar calls left and right, and Tatum can't get a whistle, and he got frustrated. So it was like, that Tatum that you're like, no, don't be that Tatum. And there was flashes of that Tatum tonight, and the Celtics were able to overcome it. And to his credit, that last stint he had in the fourth quarter, he put all that shit aside. He didn't just go in and start hunting for his shot. He was screening, he was moving the ball, he was playing defense, he was creating for other people. And so that ended up a net positive. But up until that point, he was struggling. He still ends up a plus 18 in 36 minutes.
Yeah. I think you gotta chalk it up to, if you miss the game and you're just box score, browsing, you're not going to be impressed by what you see. But I think Tatum really did, he made it count on the defensive end tonight. I mean, you talked about it, that Lopez matchup, and that's anybody in the league going up against Lopez. This is a guy that's been considered one of the best defenders in the NBA over the last decade. The Bucks as a team are obviously a sound team on both ends of the court. And Tatum, I think, leaned into that defensive assignment tonight. Of course, 1 of 8 from 3 is going to stick out. And he's been known to have a game or 2 like that, or 3 or 4 like that. The fact he couldn't get to the line tonight was the difference. You want to see him be a little bit more aggressive, get to the hole. And yeah, maybe you want to say that brothers swallowed the whistle when it came to Tatum. That's fine. But that is the one thing I think with Tatum that over the years, it ebbs and flows a little bit, but when he's aggressive and going to the rim and getting fouled and going to the line, that can kind of break you out of that little bit of that shooting slump instead of trying to, force the 3 to go down or force that outside step back jumper or whatnot. But I thought defensively, and I thought some of his decision-making tonight passing wise was on point. He actually had a really nice one. I think to Al late in that fourth quarter there when he did drive and he had a little sort of like an underhand back pass to Al Horford for the easy 2 points. So, did a lot of little things tonight, but yeah, it's not a game that's going to, increase the MVP odds. But when you talk about value to a team and what you can give them when you're not scoring, I still think Tatum proved that he can do that tonight.
No, this was a game where certainly, the best that he had to offer was not stat centric, but more so just his poise when it mattered most. He certainly got frustrated, but he didn't get rattled. We've seen Tatum that go down that wormhole, when that frustration leads to bad shots, which leads to turnovers, which leads to just a real crappy showing down the stretch. And yeah, he absolutely had moments of frustration, but he did not let it linger, which is, I think, part of his personal growth as a superstar in this league. So this was, he's going to have games like this. He's, every player, no matter how good or bad you are, you're going to have games like this. But can you find ways to help your team win otherwise? Can you do the little things that you pointed out, Jimmy, to frankly make up for the not so little things that you're completely bombing at on that night. And
Right.
Tatum did that. This was a good win. And Tatum, he's going to have games like this. But can he still find ways to help this team win, which I thought he did tonight?
I got a little tweet sent to me from the folks at the Garden. Doc Rivers in his post-game commentary says he circled Peyton Pritchard's name before the game. Said Peyton Pritchard happened this morning. I literally circled his name. It's like this guy comes in and he's a game changer. He got their 3 balls going. I thought that changed the game.
Did Doc give that little circle to his players?
No,
because apparently they treat him as if he was like bad TJ McConnell. We're just going to leave him all day long. Do whatever you want to do. You're not going to shoot. We're not worried about you. Maybe they thought he was TJ McConnell there for a minute because
hey, easy on my guy TJ McConnell, by the way.
TJ McConnell is a decent player who can't shoot. Doesn't look to shoot.
Peyton
Pritchard does.
Peyton is headed to the
Pritchard's
podium.
lethal. The pee party. It was the pee party tonight. That's what it was, Sherrod. Classic.
The pee party.
This was Pro-Am Peyton.
Yeah, he was good. 6 man of the year odds. Here we go.
Damn.
They are. You missed it. You missed it. Drew Carter said put this out. Dick Lipe handed this note. 6th man of the year. Back to find that kid in the park again. Pritchard, his wife put out a video of him schooling some kid in the park. And yeah, there's poor Doc after he circled the name. Yeah, it didn't.
You would think just circling the name would fix all their issues, but he didn't actually teach
I
anybody.
should have given it to my players.
Yeah.
I should have given it to the players.
Yeah, here's Pritchard.
Let him shoot with you before every game now.
Probably,
Oh, it's
maybe
the kid,
maybe have
it's
to
the
do that
kid.
for sure. But no, it's just a good night, good win, good team win. So looking forward to building on this.
When the second quarter is happening and everybody else is
What was it like playing
kind
in
of
the park?
struggling a little bit, you've got your shot going. Do you feel
What
like
do you
a
think
sense
it was
of like
like playing in the park,
responsibility,
Jimmy?
I got it. Let me keep shooting until you guys figure it out.
No, not necessarily. I mean, especially with our team, if we just play the right way, drive, kick, make the simple passes, like the shots are gonna fall. So obviously, I just try to play the right way, make the right reads regardless. And if my shot is there, I take them.
How would you describe kind of your mindset on a night in, night out basis when it comes to affecting winning? What do you try to do to put your team in a position to win?
I mean, honestly, I try to go into every game like with the confidence to be aggressive. So, looking for opportunities to attack, to get my shot off, and then defensively just picking up and being like a pest. Obviously, I'm not the biggest person in the world, so I'm not going to be able to bump down low or do things like that. But it's really just about the energy I got to bring every game, especially coming off the bench. Some nights our starters, they might have low energy. It's a long season, so I got to be responsible to bring it that night.
Joe said the thing he liked about you most was your competitiveness. What's kind of the best example of that, and how competitive are you maybe compared to the other guys?
I feel like I'm probably the most competitive on our team. I hate losing in anything. I want to win at everything. It doesn't matter if we're playing wiffle ball before practice. I want to win. So it's how I've always been, and it's probably why I'm here today.
Peyton, when you got the ball at the end of the third quarter, you can kind of feel the Garden, like know it was about to happen. How much pride do you take in those shots? And now that you're kind of like the face of that shot now around the league.
I mean, I just like live for those moments. The clock winding down, and I think it was like 6 seconds left. So just to get to a spot and raise, and I kind of black out in those moments and just let it fly. And obviously, it works out a lot of the times for me.
When you got the ball, there's a clip of Doc Rivers. I don't know if you saw it, where he's like hunched over and then you made it and he just kind of dropped his head. Knowing that you can deflate an opposing team like that, like does that like make you want to make them more?
Doc.
For sure. I mean, I feel like that's why everybody's got to take them, even no matter the distance. It's just, it's a gut punch when you do hit them. The momentum, like you felt the Garden, like you said, it's the momentum swings are crazy.
Peyton, before the game, did you see the kid holding up the sign, Peyton Pritchard for White Boy of the Year? And like, what's your reaction when it seems like you have a fan base?
Gary.
Like, the everyday guy loves you. I mean, It seems like all over the league now, people are just kind of taking you. What's that kind of support and that
White Boy of the
affection like from the fans?
Well,
That was my
I
son.
definitely appreciate it. I feel like it comes because I look like a ordinary person, and I feel like I give hope to everybody that is the same size as me. I'm not necessarily the most athletic, but with hard work, you can make it a long way. And I feel like I'm the prime example of that. That I never quit, and I'll keep going. And anything you put your mind to in life, you can accomplish it. So, I'm proud to give hope to those people.
Oh,
Gary thought it was White Boy Day.
That should have been the bold take. Shouldn't have been sixth man of the year. Should have been he's gonna win the award for White Boy of the Year.
oh, Gary, I love you. I love you. That's my guy.
Oh man,
God.
these are great. Keep them
You
coming,
gotta text
guys.
Gary and be like, "What did you just?"
This
ask?"
might be the best post-game presser they've had like in a long time. Forget about this year. This has been great.
White Boy of the Year. He's not gonna be able to get away from that nickname now.
That's pretty good. But yeah, look, man, there's some of that stuff sounds cliche. Like I work hard and I this and that, and everybody says that regardless of whether they work hard, and everybody believes they're super competitive. Like nobody's out there like, we always joke about like teams talking about like we got to play Charlotte Hornets basketball. Like everyone thinks they've got a culture. Everyone thinks like that's the thing. But like Pritchard's actually that guy, right? Like Pritchard, everything about him is gym rat. Like I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna work my ass off, because if I stop and I slack and I have one summer where I just decide to go on a world tour and I don't really do anything, I don't pick up a basketball until 2 weeks before camp, I'm cooked. I gotta keep this edge going. It's the only thing that's gonna get me going. And he's always been that guy. Like that's who he is. So like, yeah, it is good when you see that payoff. Like it sucks when it's like, yeah, I work super hard, but like I'm just simply not good enough to be in this league. Like he's worked himself into that. Like that's how he got here. That's how he's staying here. And like that's how now he's potentially a legitimate six man of the year candidate, which is just banana land.
It is, but you remember, this is the same guy that said, "Look, either play me, you trade me." This guy asked for a trade, and because he felt that he was better than the opportunities that he was getting. And once he gets an opportunity, he was pretty blunt about it. I'm going to play well, and give him his props. He has played very well when he's given an opportunity to play. And he's not going to shoot the ball like this every single game. But the thing about Peyton Pritchard that he's starting to do, and you're seeing more and more of this, is even on those games where he's not shooting the ball well, he's figuring out ways to do other things to help impact winning, whether it's tipping balls around an offensive glass to keep them alive, or getting teammates involved. Playing stout defense. He's actually looked a lot better defensively this year than previous years. And so when he's doing all those different things, you can deal with him not having a great night shooting the ball, because you're getting something other than that from him night in and night out.
Yeah. And look, the path for Pritchard to sixth man, and the reason I think a lot of us were like, I don't know, isn't because like it's impossible. It's that he's not really even the sixth man on this team. Right now you're playing without Hauser and without Porzingis. The rotations change a little bit when those guys come back. Doesn't mean Pritchard doesn't get his minutes. He still does. But it's just simply a matter of, can he stuff the stat sheet enough to get into the conversation playing 20 minutes a night? And it's just, you don't know if he can. So one of the things I'd asked before the season is, does Pritchard become one of those guys where you like, I mean, I said it in the previous show, like where I can't wait till he gets in the game. Like we need Pritchard's infusion here. And again, the bench, the way we looked at it at the beginning of last year was survive the bench minutes. As long as you've got 3 of the top 6 out there, you can put any 2 guys out there and they'll be okay. And that honestly was what kept the bench afloat for most of the year. Not that they weren't capable, but you always had quality out there with them, and it made their jobs and their lives a little bit easier, because it wasn't Peyton Pritchard trying to run a total B unit and be the only guy. But like, he's gotten himself to the point where he absolutely can carry a second unit offense if necessary. And he's out there with starters, and he's a guy that they're looking for. And the way that this offense is built, obviously being a guy who can shoot, who can catch and shoot the way that he does, he's just perfectly positioned to be able to really fill it up if they keep doing what they've been doing and creating all of these terrific looks. So again, the path to him to getting that is kind of, can he get himself up to 25, 26, 27 minutes a game? And if so, he scores into the 13, 14, 15 points a game. Absolutely, he would be on for six man, because again, you're going to get people are going to look more favorably on somebody doing that on a team as good as the Celtics, as opposed to doing it on a 6 seed or a 7 seed. Great. You're the sixth man coming in, scoring 14 points a game on a one and done playoff team. That doesn't mean nearly as much. Doing it here with this collection of talent around you carries a good bit more weight. So
yeah,
I don't think it's out of the question.
Well,
I mean, not looking at the role he's playing now.
Well, I think you touched on it, but it's the way the Celtics play offense that allows him to be in consideration, because I think a lot of guys in his role or with the amount of minutes he plays wouldn't have those opportunities, wouldn't have those looks, wouldn't have the green light to take 10 3-pointers off the bench. But it's what the Celtics do. It's what Mazzulla wants them to do. He wants to maximize those possessions. He wants to maximize a 3-point shot. He knows Peyton Pritchard is one of the best 3-point shots on the team / in the league. I mean, especially at this rate. And so for those reasons, he is going to be, as long as he's still getting playing time, we already know he's got the green light to shoot. The confidence is there. For the last couple of seasons, he has brought the energy, John, but now he's able to bring more than just the energy. He's been like the spark plug, right? We've joked about it, and him and Luke come in and
Sparky.
Yeah, Sparky. We've called him. He's Sparky of the year. He's been that for the last few years. But now he's got a little bit of that swagger. He's got the confidence. He's got the contract, right? So he's got, sort of the recognition that I think he's been, working towards. And I mean, Doc Rivers is not the only coach circling Peyton Pritchard's name. Certainly not after a night like tonight. It's just a matter of, will he continue to be overlooked, or will will teams still continue to focus on, the Tatums and the Browns and the Whites, and all of a sudden Pritchard's wide open for three. I don't know how much longer he's going to get away with that. Maybe there will be a little bit more attention paid to him, which could make things a little bit more difficult. But it's not going to stop him from shooting. It's not going to stop him from running up and down the court. He's certainly not shy when it comes to taking those deep threes. We've seen him hit them. And, I think, and also like the hype is real. Like there's a lot of hype around Peyton Pritchard that can kind of happen quickly. So with that being a media vote, it doesn't necessarily have to be the best stats. It can be, the guy who the media feels changes the game as quickly, as any other bench player could, or if the team is successful. So there are other reasons.
Well, the other thing too he's got going for him, Jimmy, is that he's got a shtick. I mean, he hits buzzer beaters at half court, and when it comes to and when it comes to voting, one of the things that a lot of these voters lean on is just muscle memory. Who comes to mind when they think about six men? And you've got folks who are going to have stats, but the fact that Peyton is going to be in that conversation and he has something that sets him apart from anyone and everyone else who's contending, that could be the difference in him getting some votes and not. The fact that he's such a great, end of the shot clock shot maker from deep. So he's got a lot of things going in his favor to have at least a legitimate shot at the award. I don't know if it's too early to get a feel for whether the award or not. But he's got some things that you can look right now. If he can continue to do those things and impact the game the way he has, he's got a shot.
This is a great comment here by Judah, and that's kind of, it's interesting. Like we've always talked about, if Pritchard were on Chicago or some other team, could he start or could he be a six man and score 17 points a game and just be a guy who's counted upon, for offense? And I never know. I never really knew what he is and what he could be. You also don't know, is he a product of the system here as much as he is an individual of talent? I don't know. I do wonder what he could be outside of here, whether this is the best place for him because you have to worry about so many other people. He's always going to get the freedom. And even if you circle his name as Doc Rivers did and tell people like this guy can shoot, I mean, they know that, and they know it with Hauser too. It's just ultimately it's a pick your poison sort of situation. You can't defend, everything and everybody. And this is just how it goes. You end up with guys with open looks, and that's a problem. Like, what was the key to the Celtics team before? Get it out of Tatum's hands and make Marcus shoot 10 threes, Like, that was the point. Like there just wasn't enough. Now it's everywhere. So yeah, you do have that. And if he's a starting caliber guy or a true sixth man, all of a sudden, yeah, it's like you're not even talking about a bench anymore. You're just talking about just 8 good basketball players that you can put in at any time, and it's interchangeable. And obviously there's going to be drop-offs from Tatum and Brown to whatever is coming in their place, but it's not crazy. Like other teams can't put that out there. They just don't have it. You look at what's going on in Denver right now. They just dropped another one. They're a freaking mess. They just don't have anybody to come in off the bench and support their starting players. So it matters. And what we thought was an Achilles heel just really isn't anymore. And it is interesting. Again, it's you're 3 games here now without Hauser outside of opening night where he played against the Knicks. And you're obviously playing without Kristaps Porzingis. And there was some encouraging stuff regarding Kristaps tonight we will get to in a little bit as well. But like, holy shit, like you're adding quality to a team that's already right now playing still head and shoulders above the rest of the league. So it just is, and it continues to get silly here. But anyway, we're going to tell you now, we're going to give you that special code. We're going to give it to you in just a minute. But first off, we're going to tell you about Prize Picks. And you want to that's what I do, Jimmy. It's a tease. It's a little
Denver
tease.
won, by the way. The chat wants.
They came back?
Yeah, they went.
They looked like they were cooked. Okay, they kept themselves from going.
But their bench did suck, so point stands.
The Prize Picks daily fantasy sports app. Get in there. Pick more, pick less. 2 or more players win up to 100 times your money, and get in on the action now. If you're a new user, you sign up, use that promo code CLNS. Bang. Play 5, get 50 instantly in your account. You don't even have to win. Again, that's for new users. Promo code CLNS. Download that app and get in on the action today. Really fun, really super easy to use. You can cross sports, do lots of different things. I love it with the NBA. Love, 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 love. Been riding Peyton Pritchard since last week. Actually, our VP of sales put us into it, Guy Neer, and he was hedging on whether to do it. I was like, yeah, PP's got it. 3 straight games. I'm riding Pritchard. And you should too. So again, check that out here. You also want to get in on, let's check out, where is it?
Game Time.
I'm trying to get in on Game Time. There's Game Time.
You had it, then you got rid of it.
Game Time. You want to get in, check out some games. Celtics, 2 of their first 8 are at home. Everything else is on the road. They're hitting the road again. When they come back, you want to check them out. You want to download that Game Time app, create an account, use the code CLNS, $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. You can also check out the Patriots. They're on the road here, but it doesn't matter. You can go see them in Tennessee if you want. You can go check out concerts, whatever you want to do. Price match guarantee, great panoramic views from your seats, all in pricing, so you know exactly what it is that you're committing when you do decide to go get your ticket, go see your favorite show, go see your favorite game. Tickets and prices get cheaper as you get closer to game time, so make sure you check it out. That's why they call it Game Time. So download that app, use the code CLNS, $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Let's get to our giveaway getaway, and we do know what we are giving away. All this cool stuff. You can win a PS5, NBA 2K,
you know how many
and
have
a
come in yet?
Jason Tatum basketball at clnsmedia.com/contest. People have asked here, can you do it if you're overseas? Yes, you can. It doesn't matter. So once again, all of this stuff, signed Jason Tatum basketball at clnsmedia.com/contest. And there is one last special code. It is live until tomorrow when the drawing ends, and we will pick a winner. We will announce it later in the week. The code, Apology Cam.
Is it?
Yes. Use the code Apology Cam at clnsmedia.com. Jimmy, how close to the screen do you want to get? You want to get all the way up here? Yeah.
I know, right?
Well, I was gonna scan my
shaving or something. Okay.
Jimmy's like,
yeah. Use
Sorry
the
for
code
the entries,
Apology
boys.
Cam at clnsmedia.com/contest for an extra 2,500 tickets. Get in on the action today. So again, terrific giveaway. Winner takes all. It will not be. Oh, sorry, I'm catching up on some chats. It will not be the only one we do all year. So, but this is a good opportunity to get in on the action. So make sure that you do Use the
Question.
code apology. Yeah.
When do you announce the winner?
I don't know how long it takes to tabulate. I just know that it closes. I don't know if it'll be in time for the next game or the game after that.
Okay, because I got 85,000 entries.
Cool. You cannot win. I want everyone to know that Jimmy Toscano will not be allowed to win.
I got burners though.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah. You got burners?
I got burners.
Okay. We'll figure it out. We do have to send it to you, though. You have to create like a P.O. box.
I got flop houses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is what it is. Anyway, back to the game here. Celtics again off to a 4-0 start. Another terrific win, beating the Milwaukee Bucks. We talked a little bit about. I have something here that says Mazzulla sassy. Is this what he started the show with? Hold on, guys.
This is the Bobby thing. So the preface is that Bobby asked him in pregame about the offensive rebounding affecting lack of transition defense.
Yeah.
So Bobby asked Mazzulla that, Crazy Joe, and it must have stuck with Joe all game. And it was the first thing that he said after the game.
Oh, I heard that Bobby question. Okay, so Joe, this is why Joe was so mad and yelling at referees. He's still pissed about Bobby's question. All right, let's hear it.
Transition is 1.3, but if you take out the fourth quarter, which is considered garbage time in the NBA, it's not 1.3. It's like 10th in the league. And then the transition rate is like 8th in the league. And so it's a little bit of a skewed stat, but we do have to get better at transition defense.
Yeah, and I meant pregame, not offensive rebounding enough.
Yeah. But that's how the transition stat kind of gets skewed, is you got to take out the whole fourth quarter was a dunk fest in Washington.
Okay. Well,
okay. Thanks for sharing.
John, you're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
I was expecting more. Anyway, interesting that he had that stuck in his brain. And he couldn't wait to clarify Bobby. He went back and looked at it, did the math, eliminated the fourth quarter stats, and crunched it so he could come back with better numbers to hit Bobby with. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, he really did.
He really did. He was like, "Oh, I'm going to put it through the little matrix here and calculate it. Nope, actually 1.4. You're wrong, Bobby." Yeah, and yes, I got it, guys. Denver won.
Yeah, Denver won, dude, in overtime.
I heard Denver won.
Yeah, idiot. Your example sucked.
Idiot.
Anyways,
why didn't we do code lemon squares? We could have.
We got a long season. There's going to be other giveaways. More
Jimmy,
codes.
suck it with your 85,000 entries.
I know. I'm actually gonna do a couple more. The problem is I already had like.
Take that, Luke. What's wrong, Jimmy? You're tabulating?
I'm trying to get more entries. That's all.
155 might be the max. I think if you did it all. So yes.
Wow.
There it is.
Wow, there's a lot of people maxing out there. I mean, the poor guy who has to count all these entries. A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing math. I'm trying to do math. Exactly.
155 is the max. Yeah, and Jimmy's sitting here bragging about his 85. He just keeps missing opportunities.
Well, I did miss the hard hat one, which is sad to say, but can't believe that they shoved the hard hat code.
I have a PS5 already, so sell this one if you win, Derek. Okay, sell it.
Yeah, right.
It's got good resale value, brand new out of the box.
Do you have a Tatum autographed basketball? No.
You definitely don't.
Getaway? No.
Anyway, back to the game, guys. We went over a little bit of everything. I do think I do love. We mentioned that Derek White stint, and I really do love Holiday having himself a little bit of redemption game here against his former team. It did not go in his direction this year. He was a beast, and he was getting he was the guy who he was taking it to the basket. He was hitting difficult threes. Almost everything he was doing, there's a high degree of difficulty, with a lot of his things there. But he was just a beast tonight. Outside of I hate to say that the Lillard grifting, man, didn't we make rules against that? How did he get away with as much of that as he did tonight?
There was so much of it.
There were so many of them.
In a game where they were swallowing the whistle for everybody else, he kept getting crazy ones.
Yeah.
It was like Tony Brothers was just trolling us, I feel like.
He
was testing.
Insane.
Yeah. You know what though? Give me Holiday over Lillard still. I like what Holiday I like Holiday, man. He's a more complete player. Give me Holiday any day of the week.
So again, that's what's on display tonight, right? Like this is the thing that was set in motion, and like the probably one of the worst things about modern NBA is, you know, stars being GMs and wanting stars, whether or not letting people build teams the way they think teams should be built, and just trying to get stars. And I understand that for desperate organizations who want to get their hands on anybody. And I do understand it on that small market or mid-market team like Milwaukee that knows that Giannis is always just one more collapse away from demanding a trade and doing the diva thing that every other. And it's amazing he hasn't to this point, and he's been loyal to Milwaukee. But he's got to get his way, and his way was Dame Lillard.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it cost them Holiday, and we know this, and this story is well told. But again, every time you see it play out, Giannis screwed Giannis screwed the entire league with this move. He did. I mean, Giannis and the Bucks setting this in motion, allowing the Celtics to get Holiday here and creating a super team. That's, you know, again, good luck with these guys, but it really is amazing the ripple effects here. And I keep going back to it and say, I know we're a year removed and there's nothing new about it, but it is amazing. Like, it's the second Holiday got traded, and you know me, I've been standing for Holiday for a while. I was like, ding. I was like, Brad's gonna do it, isn't he? He's gonna call them.
We texted about it immediately.
But
John, you were very hesitant. You were very hesitant because your binky was gonna get
I
traded.
have made this perfectly clear. It was an emotional response, and Rob gotten on the court yet this year?
I don't think he's gotten in the arena. I'm not even sure he's with the team. I hate to say it. Every time I hear Rob in the news, it's not good. It's about like a knee or a lower body.
Yeah.
It's just not good. But yeah. Thank you, Giannis. Thank you, Kerr. Thank you, Giannis. We got a whole thank you tour to go on, I think, this year.
There is a thank you tour.
We should call it a thank you tour. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, and Brad was the same thing too. He's like me. It's like I've been trying to get Holiday on this team since the Kemba years. It's like this is the guy. This is the guy. Get this guy.
Shame on Milwaukee too, though. Like, didn't they think that could possibly happen? Like, you traded him to a team that was not going to keep him. You knew that.
Yeah.
Knew the Holiday wasn't going to keep him. I mean, you knew that Portland was going to keep Holiday, and so you ran that risk. But again, their hands were tied because the superstars get what the superstars want.
They do.
Yep.
I mean, shit.
Facts.
Giannis even had his brother on the damn team for a freaking couple years.
Thanasis is freestyling somewhere right now.
That might have been more egregious than getting Lillard. That might have hurt the team even more.
Yeah.
Facts.
Giannis is going to be playing with Lonnie Walker somewhere soon, I think. Not in Maine either. I found that out.
So much to learn. He has so much to learn there.
A lot of basketball.
Yeah. I miss Thanasis just simply existing.
We'll always have Thanasis Manning.
Thanasis Manning is one of the greatest things ever. It's so good.
Yeah, we should just play that one time.
Yeah. Well, we're waiting for Bobby and Noah to get in and give us their perspective on things. One thing that we did see going on pregame, which is interesting to point out, was Kristaps Porzingis was out there going through a workout. And I know this is stuff that he does. And kind of like, whoa, loud.
Love it.
Yeah.
Ooh. He's fully dressed.
Yeah. He's out there and he was doing, we can do a little volume. I don't mind here, Jackson. It doesn't have to be full blast here, but little less. Bring it down. Split the difference. But he's out there and he's doing his thing. And I saw a couple other videos. He's moving quite a bit and he's doing a lot of stuff. He was hopping up and down. He was running off of fake screens and catching and shooting off in the corner. So it wasn't just standing there doing free throws. I'll tell you right now, he looks a lot more active than he did at any point last playoffs when he was trying to get back on the court with that injury. And he was just kind of like jumping off one foot and seeing if he could balance himself. He was doing stuff, and he's still doing some of that stuff now. You see him shooting
literally that right
shooting now. That's all he did when he was warming up last year. but there's other video where he was running around. He was going through some stuff. So again, good to see him out there. And the Porzingis thing is December, he's saying, but he keeps kind of winking like, but November's possible. And I got to tell you, November's pretty close. So
A couple days.
yeah. So I don't know when this is going to happen, but I definitely, not just based off of seeing this, but I think my Porzingis fears are pretty low in terms of him being able to come in and be some version of the same guy that he was before. You know, there'll be a ramp up, obviously, but yeah.
I don't have any doubts that he's going to come back and be the guy we saw last year. My only concern is like, can he stay? Can it stay? Like, can he stay on the court? I'm not going to go deep into it because it's all just, guessing, but you just want to stay on the court. I think he's going to be fine from this injury. Just don't have anything else happen. That's my fear, I guess.
Well, yeah. For me, it's the ramp up. Like, how long is it going to take him to get going? And when he does get going, to your point, Jimmy, can he sustain it? Right. This is the second, season in as many seasons he's been in Boston where he's had, an injury that has kind of, really derailed his ability to help this team and make an impact. And it's clear when he plays, they're a significantly better team than damn near anyone that they step on the floor against. And when he's not playing, they're vulnerable. They've done a good job of covering up for what he brings to the table. But at some point, it's going to bite you in the ass if you're leaning on that too much. So that's my big concern is just, making sure that he gets enough time to ramp up. And once he gets to ramp up, can he sustain himself out there and just continue to keep playing and building on that?
Somebody put it in the chat a little bit earlier, but like, it is amazing that you Bobby was a little gloom and doom, and he might still be proven right before it's over. You never know how this is going to look after 20 games, 25 games. Right. But like, he was definitely a little bit like nervous that that's going to be a rough go. I mean, and without them, and they're going to have a tough time surviving and blah, blah, blah. And it's amazing that you're watching them play and you're like, oh wait, they won a title without him and they don't really look like they need him now. So again, it is just gravy, and it's crazy that's coming at some point, reinforcements of that level. And again, not to be like, turn all green teamer with it here, but again, it's got to really be demoralizing for the rest of the league to have the Celtics look the way that they look to start the season right now, as if they've leveled up, and then to know that like, oh, by the way, like a top 3 player is just sitting there waiting to play and hasn't even come out there. That's gotta suck. It's really got to suck.
I agree.
I'm sorry. And again, just based off, it's not even the Porzingis, just based off what we're talking about. Like Tatum, Tatum had a bad game and Brown had a bad half, and they still ended up with, again, they didn't quite get to 20. They built it up to an 18-point lead, and Brown goes nuclear in the second half here. The second half numbers here, again, he started off cold. He finishes that second half 8 of 11 field goals, just bully ball, right? Just taking it in, tough shots, pull-ups and ones, just unbelievable. So again, just the takeover mode that you have, from each of these players. You had that Derek White stretch, you had Holiday being able to do stuff. And again, you play tonight without Porzingis and you play it with like half a Tatum, and it's still, a blowout over a good team.
I felt like Brown's ball handling stood out a little bit to me tonight too. And obviously that was a big knock on his game for a while, is this, this guy can't dribble. But I feel like he's in more control, in those one-on-one situations too. He kind of gets in his bag a little bit there and finds ways to get to the rim. And then when he gets to the rim, that's when he uses that physicality. And, we saw it tonight. He, gets what's the word I'm looking for? Gets contact in the lane and finishes. And then, with the doing this whole thing and, the and one and that's the Brown I think that you can expect to see moving forward. A guy that's really built, filled into his body, physical as hell now, and can get to that. When he gets moving, there's not many players in the league that are as dangerous as he is full steam ahead. I mean, we've seen him throw down on many many an NBA players.
The-
That's just what he's doing now.
The ball handling there was one point where Cornette came up high from a screen. That was my favorite moment of the game. And again, he didn't have a high assist game, but this was a terrific play. In the fourth quarter, I think it was Portis and someone else came up there, and they doubled Brown coming off it, and he just did this really slick, kind of,
Yeah.
close to the ground, just boom, 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 dribble move, split the double, but had him.
He had Prince going backwards.
He had him spinning. Like, I wish they showed a replay of that. That would completely just lost them both. And then instead of just kind of going all the way in, he whipped it over to Pritchard for another open three in the corner. That was a terrific play. But yeah, the moments of that where, the ball handling, and a couple times, to his credit, like, he went in hard, lost the ball, got the ball back, was able to collect it, and still hit a ridiculously tough shot. So again, in terms of tough shot making, Brown continues to be unrivaled in that regard. And like, that's what it was. A lot of those things were tough pull-ups where he's just getting to a spot and he's just rising up and he's hitting it over people. The fadeaways, the step backs. I mean, really impressive stuff from Brown here in the second half. And again, what's funny is, like, look, they're the champs, and there's 82 of these games. They're going to get bored. I thought Brown was bored a good bit of last game. I thought he was bored for a little bit of this game too. Like, I think it comes in and out, but then he found it. He found that thing, and it really was reminiscent of like playoff Brown. In that second half, everything kind of went up a level.
Yeah, and they're going to need that from him this season. I mean, Jalen is no longer, someone who could just kind of sneak up on people. You were able to do that because of how much credit Tatum got, but Jalen, he doesn't have that luxury anymore. I mean, this is what happens when you're NBA Finals MVP and you start getting praise and accolades and recognition that you haven't gotten to that level before, certainly not in the NBA. So, Jalen's gonna have to get into his bag for sure this year.
Let's before we we'll try to get Bobby and Noah on.
Where are the kids?
They're just staking out, guys.
Hour in, man.
I know we're not going to last much longer, but give us your take here on the Jordan Walsh minutes. And again, this is what we talked about earlier in the year. Just when we're doing our previews, or even actually it was at maybe game 2 or game 3 when Hauser was out. It was, why don't you just let the guy play? If he's here and you think he's your guy and you think he's going to, you think he could earn minutes at this level, or you're trying to see whether he can earn minutes at this level, give them to him. Don't do the Neesmith, don't do the Romeo, don't do the stuff where you're just not gonna use him. Like, give him Hauser's minutes. That's what they did. Not quite 12 minutes. You would expect someone like Hauser playing 20, but they gave him. I felt like he was out there for a little bit longer. Acquitted himself well. Played good defense on Giannis. Didn't see that coming.
So.
No. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yes, you can go first if you'd like.
You got it, Jimmy. You got it.
And the 2 points was spectacular. He hung in the air for like 7 seconds on that putback. That was unreal.
Right. So it's too simple to just say, oh, take out these minutes and put him in for these minutes, because they're just very different players, obviously. When Walsh is in the game, what Walsh did tonight is exactly what his role needs to be. And it looks like he gets it, because he's not going in the game to have a play drawn out for him. He's not going in the game to take a 3-pointer or to, even really dribble the ball more than 3 times. He's going in the game to be active, to get in the way, crash the boards like he did for that putback, almost got another one, play good defense, make things difficult for a guy like Giannis, and just get out of the way otherwise. And that's exactly what he did. And that's why he's a +10. That's why he got the 12 minutes, because I guarantee you, if he went in there and, tried to act like, main Red Claws Jordan Walsh, it was not going to work, because that's not going to be his role at any point this season on this team. Whereas Hauser getting the green light when he's in there. So it's just a different mindset, I think, it's obviously a different mindset depending on who's in the game between those two guys. But that's how Jordan Walsh, like the blueprint on what Jordan Walsh can do to help this team. Just watch his minutes from tonight, because that's exactly what his role needs to be. It's just an energy guy, be active. If there's a long rebound, get a body up there. Give yourself an opportunity for a second chance point. That's going to be Jordan Walsh.
That next level, the path to go from 10 minutes when a couple of guys are out.
I just don't see it.
No, it's those 2 threes. Like, he missed the 2 threes.
He's got to hit them right.
Wide open corner threes. Gotta hit him, and he still looks like he's not super eager to take them. They're a little bit aimed. I mean, he's just got to find that. It's just he's not going to get a lot of opportunities. So the sample size is always going to be small. You hit 1 out of 2, and you're like, good job. That's all he needs to do. But
Bobby would take that and do per 36.
Johnny's shooting 50% from 3. What do you want from the guy?
He's averaging 6 made threes a game per 36.
Per 36.
He's got 4 threes per 36. What do you want from the guy? So yeah, absolutely, that's what we would get from it. Real quick, we're going to try to get Bobby and Noah in here, but we do want to tell you about one more of our sponsors. Welcome back, Rocket Money, to the Garden Report. I do love me some Rocket Money, and I'll tell you, I got back into it, and I signed up, and I immediately found something. I was like, oh my gosh, and I'm not telling you what it was. $38 a month I was paying for something that I hadn't used in 9. I don't want to talk about it. Okay, so what does Rocket Money do? It helps you find subscriptions you forgot about, stuff you paid twice for. It can cancel them for you, which is a pain in the butt to track everything down. And where is it? And is it a yearly? Is it a monthly?
Wow.
Which credit card you put it on? Rocket Money finds it, and it says, what do you want to do? I want to cancel and save myself those ridiculous $38 a month. I was just burning. Most Americans think they spend $62 per month on subscriptions. Wrong. It's like $300 a month on subscriptions. I guarantee you're not using all of them, and it just goes off your radar and you totally forget about it. You're spending a lot of money. Cost of living has gone up. You don't want to be burning money on stuff you're not using. So get in on Rocket Money. It's a personal finance app, helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitor spendings, and lowers your bills so you can grow your savings. It has over 5 million users, saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's features. So all you have to do, stop wasting money on things you don't use, cancel those unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/garden. Once again, rocketmoney.com/garden. Get in on that today. It is really, really worth it. I am not kidding. I've saved a zillion dollars.
There are some people watching that probably have some subscriptions that they could get rid of. They could definitely get rid of some subscriptions. I'm not going to say who they are. I think everybody knows who you are. Check out Rocket Money. Christmas is coming, guys. You're going to need a couple bucks. Buy a few gifts. You don't need the subs for the next couple months. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's be honest with ourselves here.
Let's be honest with ourselves, guys. Any final thoughts here? Again, we're trying to welcome the kids in and see if they can get in on the action, but we're not.
Yeah, can we get one take from these people at the game?
They were waiting. They were staking out some of the Bucks and maybe trying to get Giannis, and who knows, but may or may not have happened.
Unbelievable. Giannis didn't talk. That's a fine.
He did, but it took forever. Yeah.
I said nothing.
Good win. They've put together a couple of quality wins, winning on the road, at Detroit on a night where they didn't play their best basketball, coming home to play a Bucks team that is built to be a contender and to not only win, but to kind of win going away there in the fourth quarter after a game that was really anyone's for the taking. So they should feel good about themselves. They should feel good about, the chaos that they caused to help get the win. So, but
Chaos
Jimmy, what do you
t-shirts
think, Jimmy? What do you think?
I think chaos t-shirts are coming in the merch store. We're going to have to work on chaos t-shirts with a little C and an S in there somehow. Chaos t-shirts are going to come.
Yeah.
If we had, maybe have like green t-shirts with white letters and have the C and the S.
Yeah.
With so chaos. Chaos with green C, green S, C's. Yeah.
I like it. What else should I be thinking, Sherrod? What were you asking me?
No, just
just in general, start to the year.
Yeah.
You can't you really can't ask for a better start to the year. You've got Tatum had a more down to earth game tonight, but you go down the line, who are you disappointed in right now? Anybody? I I can't really think of, right off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody. I think every single starter on this team has showed up to play. You wonder if there's going to be a championship hangover to start the year. There hasn't been anything close to that. They've just kind of picked up right where they left off. Derek White's elevated his game so far. It feels like you had Holiday, who's already had 2 games of 18 plus points to start the year. And he's obviously doing his thing. He looks healthy to go. And that was after an Olympic run as well. And so I have no negative. And then you've got the bench guys that are coming through. We talked about Pritchard for a lot. I'm not going to talk about him anymore tonight, but certainly a guy that's the face of that movement. What's up, Bobby?
What's up?
Good to see you, man. Like your hair. Wow. What do you got in there? What product are you using?
I'll have to text you. But
yeah.
Well done, Bobby. Well done. No free promos. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I like that too. I'm gonna have to get some.
Yeah,
you have the floor, dude.
Just was in the Bucks locker room. Giannis talked, and he was throwing around the scores from last year. Got asked about closing that gap with Boston. Said, yeah, we lost them twice last year, but we also beat them by 20-30 on our floor too. Obviously, that's something, when you look back at last year and this matchup specifically, you're like, all right, you had that weird one. It was like the 5th game in 7 days or something like that where they benched the starters. But then you had that other one too, where I think some guys were out, but still pretty, convincing win for the Bucks there. And I thought this one, I know Joe was glad that it was a close game and they were able to go back and forth and all that. It felt like, to me, I know we were kicking around like the teams at the beginning of the year, Knicks, Sixers, all those different teams, and who's the biggest threat to Boston in the East. This, to me, I don't think this is a team that can beat Boston, but this looks to me like the team that can take them to 6-7, which is what we're starting with, right? The Celtics rolled through everybody in 5 last year. Can someone push them to 6? Can someone push them to 7? That's what I think you're asking first and foremost. And this Bucks team, the way they've played them, the personnel they have, the shooting, the forcefulness with Giannis in there, I think tonight showed that if anyone's going to bring them to a extended series, that kind of thing in the East, I think this might be the only team that can do it, just because they have unique personnel. They have the star power. They're going to add Chris Middleton to this group that we saw here tonight. But the Celtics still just too good, too methodical in crunch time, and winning key minutes with Jordan Walsh and Xavier Tillman. It's unbelievable what they're able to do with their depth out there beyond the obvious with Pritchard there. So, can you bring them 6? Can you bring them 7 if you're Milwaukee? Maybe. But if you lose a crunch time or 2 here or there, or bench minutes here or there, like they did tonight, it could be a 5-game series again. So even the Bucks, who I think tonight showed that they look like they're the closest right now, still miles and miles away.
Yeah, we'll welcome in Noah as well. Noah, what your takeaways, primary takeaways from this game tonight? And again, you can go any direction you want because we've covered a bit of it.
Yeah, I would say, and good to see you all. I would say the biggest thing that I took away from this game is just how difficult it's going to be to beat this team, honestly, because Jalen and Jason both just didn't look great in the first half, and it really didn't matter. And next thing you know, they're up by 15 late in the game. Peyton Pritchard, I think that he's already showing that he's taken a massive leap. And then I think that it's only going to continue this year. I don't think this is a fluke. I think we're going to see him continue to have these really big games, and that last year is going to be a different season than what we're seeing from him this season. So, I'm super excited about everything that we saw tonight. I think the fact that you can have guys struggle and still come out on top at the end is a much better sign than just blowing this team out. And the fact that Al also still was able to bother Giannis at this point is great.
Facts, my dog.
What did you guys think of the Jordan Walsh minutes?
I thought he redeemed himself. He didn't really do anything massive in the first stint, and then plays the last few minutes of the third and the first few of the fourth. And Joe Mazzulla said he was thrilled with how they went. And Jaylen Brown said the same. But just the fact that he didn't make any major mistakes, like we've talked about it, the whole thing with this team is that it's all about just not standing out and not making a big mistake. If you can just blend in and make a few hustle plays, like that's a massive win for a rotation player.
Yeah, the first half stint's disappointing there because it's the old Neesmith, John. You miss 2 threes and you're done. And I thought we'd never
We
see
were
him
just
again.
talking about it. Like if he hits one of those, you're like, okay, he's 50% from 3, John. What do you want from the guy? You know?
I mean, that's the margin for a guy like that, and it's tough. I'm glad they went back to him. I'm glad they had that trust. I think that was huge, and it set him up for those successes now we just talked about there in the second half. But finally, just try it. Like, they're going 7 deep against Detroit the other night. They're playing guys big minutes. This is exactly what you didn't want to
Just
see
try it.
from them
That's
in the
all we
regular
wanted to see.
season. And you know what?
You
Now
can
they
get
are.
away with it. Just play the guy, play him, and see what happens. Right?
Right. Well,
It's
that's it.
okay.
They can get away with it.
You
and
can
that's,
do it.
And you have to. And you have to play him to see what you have, and more importantly, you have like a week here to play him before he's off to Maine, probably. So I'm glad he got in there. I'm glad he showed he could keep up with the speed of the game. That stop on Giannis was huge, and Joe highlighted that after the game. I thought it was a big moment too for him.
Yep. Give us your takes, guys, on Tatum's night. Tough night for him. He had to bang down low with Lopez a little bit. He wasn't getting the calls. He wasn't hitting the shots. He got a little bit frustrated. Ended up having a good stint there at the very end, but not a terrific Tatum game. But was it surprising seeing him kind of be rattled after how not that he was over the first 3 games? Because that's the only thing that kind of stood out to me a little bit is like it got to him. And again, for game 4 of the year, not enough had been building to get to the point where you'd just be frustrating or take a trip or 2 off a defense, which he did, which I never like to see. And again, 82 games, these guys are playing 35, 38 minutes a night. I get it. You're going to have, some lulls from time to time, but it's always those things you see with Tatum is what happened? Like, why did he let whatever was happening get to him and affect him kind of mentally where he'd been such a rock?
I didn't think that he looked rattled. I mean, he was obviously challenging the refs.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was frustrated with the refs, and Joe was asked about it post game, and he said, he never came out of the sets. He never lost focus on what we were doing. Like, he talked to the refs, I talked to the refs. Like, they were happy to be talking to the refs, and Joe almost sounded like it was intentional to create chaos. It was the exact quote. I'm sure you guys heard.
I want to get your thoughts on that too, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I had my camera rested on Joe. He was chasing that ref up and down for like 2 minutes. It was pretty wild. But yeah, I didn't feel like, Jason Tatum, obviously his shot was not on, and throughout this game, he was kind of due for one. He's been shooting so well these first few games of the season. But defensively, I thought he was solid. And then down the stretch, he had a couple of assists in the fourth quarter, and then he had that tough shot that I felt like he kind of redeemed himself. Like, it wasn't a terrible performance. There was a moment in time when we were talking on press row, and we were like, it almost feels like Pritchard should be out here to close this game. Like, they were doing so well without Tatum, and then he came in and made like a few really good plays in a row, found Pritchard in the corner, found, I think it was Al underneath the basket, and then hit a tough shot as well. And so I feel like he kind of showcased then why you go with your starters and why you go with your stars even when it's an off night. Like, he's just kind of indispensable in that way. So I don't have any concerns, but I do feel like the shooting splits from the first 3 games were a little bit unsustainable. So kind of water is finding his level a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt. It was really more just kind of the sort of stuff that he allowed to kind of drag back in there, which I'd rather not see. Everyone's going to excuse not shooting, 80% from the floor like he did night 1. That's not going to happen all the way through. But again, picked up by Jalen, solid all around games from pretty much everybody. You can say something positive about pretty much everybody who played tonight. Holiday had a nice kind of revenge game against the Bucks after not playing great against them in the regular season last year. And then Derek White, that stretch there that I thought kind of turned the whole game around and energized things, where he hits those back-to-back threes and gets the block on Giannis, was just ridiculous.
Yeah, and you look at the numbers here, and they're able to beat the Celtics on the offensive glass. They're able to get 31 free throws, but you can't keep up with the threes if you're the Bucks. And it's just a mountain. It's an avalanche that falls on you at some point in these games. And the Celtics, Tatum, Brown, they're 1 for 12 in this one from 3, but other guys end up hitting theirs. Holiday, I don't know how much you guys talked about him, but this was just such a vintage Holiday game where it's like, all right, where do you need plays from him? Yeah. That's where he's going to show up. And it's almost on perfect timing every time. Even in that Detroit game, it was the 0 for 2 all night, not doing too much, and then hits those 2 threes to tie that game. So he's in form. I know Noah mentioned Horford. He looked like Horford tonight, doing his thing against Giannis, and a weird Giannis game. I felt like, I felt like he was kind of setting up teammates like Butler does sometimes, and just sort of takes a back seat. And he got going later, but strangely passive. A lot of followaways, a lot of just uncharacteristic passiveness from him. A couple of threes too, turnovers, frenzy, missed layups. So this is a weird game for him. I can't wait to see these teams play again in a couple of weeks, because again, I feel like this is the one team in the East. I don't care about the Knicks. I don't care about the Sixers, any of those teams. This team, to me, feels like the only team that can lay a finger on you, bother you, play a game like this where it's back and forth and close the whole way. And, it sounds like they're going to get Chris Middleton back here pretty soon. But fortunately for the Celtics, you're seeing Porzingis out there at this point getting some shots up. So
I like that.
Maybe he's due back sooner rather than later, too.
Noah, do you agree with that? Bobby's take that the Bucks are the team that you think will bother you there? Because I don't. But there's always
I can't give up on Giannis and company there.
Yeah.
You're saying this is the number one team to be worried about in the East, Bobby? They're number one.
Now that I've seen them play the Knicks and the Bucks and Sixers, who knows? I don't even know how we judge that, but we will at some point.
I mean, it's hard to say because we haven't seen the Sixers yet, and I do feel like my imagination of what the Sixers.
I don't know if we ever will.
But that's the thing. You're right. Like I don't know if we will, and it's at the end of the day, the best predictor of injuries is injuries, and there's a reason to believe that this team won't be at full strength. But they would have been my pick. I also just feel like it's a little hard with the Knicks and some of these other teams that I was high on in the offseason. I don't know that we have enough of a sample size, but I don't know. I don't really feel that way about the Bucks. The one thing that would change my mind is if anything happened to Al Horford, honestly. Not to put that out there. I feel like I keep catching myself saying stuff like that, but I do feel like he's a little too instrumental in this series, and that makes me a little nervous just because at the end of the day, like every time Al wasn't matched up on Giannis, it was a completely different dynamic. And he did score 30 tonight. As much as it was a little bit of an awkward night, like he was able to exploit anytime somebody else was on him. And so I worry about that series just because it really relies on Al Horford. And he's available always. He's always, knock on wood, but he's been there. So there's no reason to really worry. But in the back of my mind, like that's, I guess, the one consideration with that team. Otherwise, I do feel pretty good about them.
How about the Magic? You want to jump on the Magic bandwagon, John?
I mean, I love Paolo. I really do. I think
that was great.
When we talk about like these stupid lists and where people rank on them and like who should be ahead of Tatum and Brown and this and that, Paolo's one of those guys that's coming. Coming for
He's coming fast. He's coming fast
because I think we slept on how good he's been. Not so. It's just he's. After 2 years, he has very few flaws in his game. I mean, he can do everything and continues to get better. So yeah, super impressive tonight. I wanted to circle back with Noah quick on something. We did talk about Pritchard a great deal on this show, and I know one of your tweets earlier is I'm going to paraphrase it here, but it's something along the lines of, I just feel like he could be an all-star somewhere or something to that effect. And you gave that one a little bump tonight after he went nuclear in the first half there with all of his 3-pointers. But like, this is kind of like the conversation we were having around Pritchard is like, who is he? Like, is he just that guy who's going to come in every once in a while and get hot? Or is he like legitimately the type of guy who could, if he weren't playing here, he'd be playing 30 plus minutes a night and scoring 20 points a game? Like, is that who it is? And someone put in the chat, like, did the Celtics go from 6 starters to 7 starters now, on this team? And if Pritchard's playing anywhere close to this level, it's a fair question to ask.
I feel like I'm subbing. Yeah, I feel like I'm subbing in the fourth quarter, and now's my opportunity. I tweeted that in March, and people were so mad that I tweeted that. And again, I'm not saying that he's going to be an all-star right now. I think that's his ceiling, and I do enjoy every single time he has one of these games.
We're going to all-star now.
Oh yeah, that's my take. I'm not talking about 6-man this year because 6-man is all about opportunity. I think it's an award that gets kind of blown out of proportion.
It's basically been won already. He's got it. He's got it in the bag.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. It's just that's not the award that's not the accolade that I'm hanging my hat on. What I'm hanging on to is the fact that he is going to be an all-star one day. I feel so confident about this take. I don't like hot takes, as you guys know, but this is a player that has that as a ceiling. Whether he ends up being just a perennial role player that wins 5 championships, maybe that'll happen. I think it's very possible and very likely that eventually he gets an opportunity to be a starting guard in this league. And I do think that he has an incredibly high ceiling because he's the best ball handler on the team. He's, when given the opportunity and when he's in a rhythm, he's an exceptional playmaker. And he doesn't always have that side of him portrayed because when you come in for a few minutes, it's hard to be in a good rhythm. And Jaylen Brown said it after the game. He's one of the best shooters in the league. And again, it's one of those things that's hard to have numbers back you up when you're playing limited minutes, but we've seen that whenever he has extended run. So the big question with him is always, can he hide the fact that he's small? And he said at postgame, he said, like, I'm not going to be able to bang down low, but he's not the first player in NBA history that has had a limitation that he's had to hide on the floor. And I think eventually the other things that he does so well just make up for the fact that he does have this defensive limitation because he's able to be a pest. He plays good defense a lot of the time. And so I think it's just a question of, like, Jalen Brunson is a defensive liability in a lot of ways as well, but his offense has gotten so critical. He's an MVP candidate, so you just make up for it. And I think Pritchard's gotten to the point, not the point of Jalen Brunson, but to the point where it's worth putting him out there because for what he gives up, he provides so many other things, whether it's loose balls, offensive rebounds, the heaves that you can now come to rely on. I know it's such a tired narrative. We've talked about it so much, but still, he does it every game now. So it's like you have to keep talking about it. It's free points that you otherwise wouldn't have. So all these advanced analytics, like he gives you another basket every game, it feels like. So yeah, I think that this is going to be a big year for him. And he's one of those guys that I think truly believes that he's capable of being one of the best players in the league. I'm not saying that that's what I think, but he truly believes that. And I don't think that most bench players have that belief in themselves. And that's what separates him, is that self-confidence and that he's working on things that will allow him to be the best player in the league in his mind, not just the things that are going to be good for the Celtics right now, today. And I don't know that everybody else is doing that. I think a lot of guys are preparing for the role that they're going to have this season. And he's preparing for a role that he might never have, but he believes that he's capable of.
They say
yeah,
I'll stop. Don't dress for the job you have, dress for the job you want. And that's
pretty impressive.
And that's Pritchard. So that makes sense. I don't want to talk about Bobby. I don't want to talk about him playing against kids though.
Is Bobby trying to be an art
There were
director?
so many questions about the kids.
Oh my God. Can we just talk about
I like that. Else? I did like that.
I thought it was cute.
I love it, but it's like it's not the story. It's a cool story. It lives over here, and it's a cool piece of video.
No, you fuse them together, right? You bring it all together. But
Joe, do you tell him to? Anyway.
Well, there was varying levels of questions about the kids. I like that we finally got the story of how it happened. Cam asked, he was walking around.
I know.
I like having the visual. Now I know
it's
how it
a
happened,
cool moment. It's a fun moment. I'm glad that it was captured on video. It's just funny. Hold on real quick because I've got people banging down the door here. We'll tell you one last time. The CLNS giveaway.
Yes.
PlayStation 5. Yes, it's right there. And Derek, if you have one, I'm sorry. I can't make it an Xbox. Beautiful. There's nothing I can do. NBA 2K. Yup. Go get some of that too.
Yeah, he might not have the game. He might have 2K, but he might have a PS5, but he might not have
and Jason Tatum autograph basketball. And here's the code. Apology Cam at clnsmedia.com/contest. Go to clnsmedia.com/contest. 25,000 extra tickets. I think the total has been determined that if you maximize them all and you got all the codes, you got up to 155,000 points that you can put towards winning this prize. It will not be the only giveaway that we do all season long, but it is the one that we have now. There it is, Apology Cam. That is going to be, Jimmy, did you do that? You look so proud of yourself.
Yeah, I did.
I did that. I found it.
Go. Producer of the year.
This only lasts till 8 p.m. tomorrow, so make sure you enter and get your code in, and then we're going to do the drawing. We'll announce it later this week. So
White Boy of the Year.
One winner, yeah. That was another interesting question. Things got weird in the press conferences, guys.
Were you there for Pritchard press conference?
No. What was that? I saw a comment about it.
Gary asked Pritchard if he saw the sign that the kid had in the game that called Pritchard White Boy of the Year. Would you give him that award, Noah, before the All-Star, or would you think All-Star comes
No,
first?
I don't even know what that award means, but I do think he handled that question well because it was a little bit awkward, and he just started explaining why he's relatable to the average person and like how he's small.
It was
So
an
I think he just
awesome
pivoted.
question. It was a great, I mean, I'm sorry, it was an awesome answer. The answer
He gave an inspirational speech.
Yeah, it's I'm the everyman. I should be the inspiration for all of you. So that was good. Yeah. So guys, we're sorry we're going to cut you guys late because we've been going for so long. But anything else you wanted to talk about that you thought is worth discussing? And again, you were both there. You both talked to people after the game. Other thoughts, other vibes, anything you want to share from tonight?
I talked to Xavier before the game, and he took over some center minutes in the second half, which I think worked well. He was out there with Pritchard for that 18-7 run that flipped the game, and he said he hasn't dealt with any of that knee soreness or knee swelling that ailed him after games, after pretty much every game, he said last year. So the surgery seemed to work, giving them effective minutes. He blew up a play, I think Giannis, and did a similar thing to Harris in the other game. His switching's good. The shooting numbers against him are pretty high, but I feel like he's holding up pretty well out there, and he's hitting shots, and he's just acclimating more and more of the system. I know he got blocked a couple of times tonight, and the inside shots don't seem like they're there for him right now. So if you're going to go him over Cornet, which I think worked well tonight, he's going to have to hit the shots and do other things because he's just still at the basket, not the most efficient player. So he brings other things to the table. He brings a different dynamic. I'm glad they got away from double big because he and Cornet together is not working. So again, just figuring out bench looks, especially without Hauser now. And I don't know, as this Hauser thing goes on and on, I know you don't want to mess with back pain, and it's been on and off for him. But if that's a thing, he's been pretty important as you look at them trying to find effective bench minutes for them right now. So they're finding some combinations that work. They're finding another player in Walsh that can maybe contribute here, and that's all important. And alongside Pritchard picking up some of the slack there, because I thought Hauser probably the most consistent bench player last year, and you're seeing how they've missed him through this stretch.
It's a bummer because he was really great in the opener and points during the preseason. Again, we're not. Do you have any intel there? Is like we're 3 games into it, and nothing seems to have changed here.
Yeah, I think you just don't mess with the back, and as long as it hurts, he'll sit. So
Any idea how he hurt it?
he said he just woke up with it and didn't feel it at all in the opening night game, and he said he dealt with it over the summer too. So I don't know what the cause was over the summer, but the fact that it's reoccurring, and I guess the strange thing here is there's no injury, it's just pain. So it is curious. And remember last year, Rozier, I know it was a neck ailment that he woke up with, but he missed the entire playoffs with that, and it never really went away until the long summer layoff. So it's not good, especially that he's missing an extended stretch here, and there's no real timeline for his return as far as Joe's commentary has gone on it here. So not to be pessimistic about it, but you would hope it would have just been a game or two and he's back, but this is lingering here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say.
Go ahead, Noah.
The only thing I'll say is that it's really only just been a week, and the fact that he was questionable today is a good sign. Like he wasn't marked out right away. We got it was an upgrade from the previous status. It's not really any reason to risk things. So I think the question is it a real injury? And we wouldn't know because Joe wouldn't tell us until he had to. Like we didn't know about so many injuries last year. I'm realizing now in hindsight in the playoffs.
There was zero concern for Porzingis, Noah.
Yeah, zero concern for Porzingis. And then there was like, what was the other one? Oh, the Luke broke his wrist. We didn't know about that confirmed until Brad said it. Like, I know you guys all know this. None of us knew. So my point being is that it could be an injury, but it also could very well just be one of those things where he has a little bit of soreness, and it's like, why put any pressure on that in October when you have so much time to go? Like, it's possible if this is a playoff game he plays. So I guess my point being is we really have no idea, and it could be 2 different pictures. And the good news is right now they could use, it's kind of an opportunity for other guys. Like Jordan Walsh probably doesn't play today if it isn't for the Hauser injury. I know we talked about this before the season began, but there needed to be some things like this, like hopefully small, minor things that aren't serious to give guys an opportunity. And right now we're seeing that manifest, whether that's Pritchard scoring 28 tonight, like he probably doesn't get that either, if Hauser's in kind of sharing those 3-pointers. So not to put a positive spin on literally everything, but yeah.
Was that a Mike Tyson? Was that a Mike Tyson thing? I saw.
It's spinal. Yeah, exactly. It's the Tyson.
Spinal.
It's spinal. That's exactly what it is. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us here on the Garden Report. Again, get your giveaway getaway tickets in there. Last chance to sign up
for the last chance. Yeah.
For the promo code, we'll put it up there one more time. Use the code ApologyCam. Go to clnsmedia.com/contest. Win all of those terrific prizes, guys. Where are we next? They are off to
Indiana.
Indy.
So this is another fun one, right? Because it's, again, you're seeing 3 of the 4 teams I think you're looking at in the East right now, and that's not to discount other teams that it could give them problems in Cleveland, Orlando, but that's 3 of the 4. With Philly being the other. Philly's starting to get whole again. You're getting Paul George supposedly back later this week, but we're not going to see them yet. So Indiana's a fun one. So we've got that coming up, and then after that, it's back-to-back in Charlotte and then Atlanta. Is that what we got? So they're off for 4 games, so they'll be on the road, but we'll be here with you guys doing the Garden Reports. Here, I think we will have people on the road. Noah's going to be covering the games in Charlotte. Bobby might be headed out there for which ones, Bobby?
Charlotte and Atlanta.
Charlotte and Atlanta. So we will have coverage from the road. CLNS Media is there with you. Make sure that you like and subscribe to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notifications so you know when we're going live. Also, stay tuned. The First of the Floor guys are going to be up with Celtics Late Night coming up right after this. One of my favorite shows and one of my favorite podcasts on the CLNS Media Network. Check out those guys for more basketball-related talk. We will see you guys next time.
Wait, Amit's got an outro for us, I think.
No, he doesn't.
He said he was going to work on an outro.
He had a phenomenal game.
Phenomenal
Forfeit's out. I think it's an auction. That did not sound like a chair.
It was a freaking chair. It does sound like a chair.